Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. Hi. Good morning. My name is Andrew, and this is the Morning Hash. Let's double check and make sure everything's up and running, shall we? I think we're good. Maybe. Maybe. Hold on. What are we doing? Did the stream go up? It says excellent connection. Is that true? Is that true? Let me double check. I'm sorry about this. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Hi, good morning. My name is Andrew. This is the Morning Hash. I'm very tired and I've got a pimple on my head, a big zit on my head. I'm very sorry about having to open up with this. I'm very sorry about opening up with this thing, but this is the first thing I saw on my Twitter feed when I opened it up this morning, so it's the first thing that you're going to see as well. Democrats are calling Kamala Harris's stepdaughter the most beautiful woman in the world. What are your thoughts? My thoughts are that Democrats are a bunch of fucking lunatics, and that's a good start because we're going to get into the fallout from all of the Tylenol madness. Describe Cardi B in 2 words or less. Stupid whore. That's the first thing. I can't believe she's pregnant. Oh my God. Why would you do this? Why would you do this? Why would you do this? Look at this. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Okay. So we've got some things to talk about here. Of course, you've probably heard about all the Tylenol bullshit. So, Donald Trump, where are we at here? Okay. That's not it. Where are we at here? Where'd it go? Tylenol. So you probably heard that the Donald Trump came out and with RFK and Dr. Oz, and you probably see this. If you see this, if you heard about this, they came out and they said, we found a link between autism and Tylenol. Now, it appears that the link is that Tylenol doesn't. I'm not a doctor. I need to say this right up front for YouTube. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. I'm not giving any kind of medical advice or anything whatsoever, okay? Always consult a medical professional. Consult your doctor. I am not a doctor. And we'll get into this more because YouTube unbanned a bunch of people for the COVID-19 shit, but we'll get into it. So it appears that there is some kind of link between a hormone or something in your body when you take a vaccine, and then the Tylenol comes in and there's some kind of mix, and it triggers some kind of autism, or it also triggers some kind of perhaps mayhaps triggers some kind of autism when pregnant women take Tylenol. Okay, again, consult a medical professional, but we'll go through some stuff here. And because Donald Trump came out and said that there might be a link between autism and Tylenol, what did lefties do? What did they do? They started chugging Tylenol. They started trying to basically OD on Tylenol while they're pregnant. Where'd it go? Here's one right here. So Trump tells people to not take Tylenol out of an abundance caution for them and their child's health. And what do these women do? They go and take Tylenol just to stick it to Trump. It doesn't matter what it is. They want to oppose Trump for the sake of opposing Trump. Now ask yourself, why is that? Here we go. Pregnant liberals are now taking Tylenol to try and give their babies autism just to protest President Trump. Liberalism is a mental illness. Yes, it is. If Trump came out and said, please don't take selfies on railroad tracks, what do you think liberals would do? This is insane. And here's something. Check this out. In 2023, there was a class action lawsuit against the maker of Tylenol alleging use during pregnancy led to birth disorders and autism. A federal judge blocked the evidence from being presented, effectively ending the case. Interesting. Why are we doing this? Here we go. This is from September 22nd. RFK Jr. reveals Tylenol use doesn't just have links to autism, but ADHD and liver toxicity in children as well. Liver toxicity in everyone, right? Any of these NSAIDs, these non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, the ibuprofens, the acetaminophen, they can cause a lot of liver damage, okay? You should be using them sparingly. It's insane that they sell them over the counter and people can just buy 500 pills and just chug them when they're pregnant. Why is Tylenol available over the counter, but ivermectin is not? That's a good question. Because our politicians are owned by Big Pharma, but RFK Jr. is telling them to get lost. That's true. They are owned. So, let's see. Dems taking Tylenol. Just to get a few examples. What the fuck is this? Pregnancies now, even when confronted with possible problems. 2 strengths of infant semen boost confusion risk. Hold on a second. Now let's take a look. This was 3 minutes ago. This apparently was Tylenol back in 2017. We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns today. Now, apparently that was a post by Tylenol back in 2017. That's interesting. Here, this is literally a doctor who is pregnant, and just so she could stick it to President Trump and get a few likes on TikTok, she is chugging Tylenol. Ay, Dios mío, pendeja. These people are crazy, guys. I thank God every day I am not a crazy Democrat. Me too. Let's watch, shall we? I know you really don't want to, but we have to look evil in the eyes. We have to face it together.
28 weeks pregnant. You know what I'm going to take? Some Tylenol.
28 weeks pregnant.
It's going to work like a charm, and my baby won't have autism.
Hold on a second. I want you to focus on her face after she takes it, right before she takes a sip. Look at her eyes. I'll pause it, but just watch.
Some Tylenol, acetaminophen.
Acetaminophen.
Work like a charm.
Watch her eyes.
And my baby won't have autism.
She's dead inside. She's dead inside. She knows, deep down somewhere, she knows that this is wrong. And she's just doing this because all of her liberal friends are doing it. And she doesn't want to be kicked out of the fucking girls' club. That's what it is. That's what most, maybe not most, because they are evil. They've exposed themselves as evil. But a lot of these people are just doing this because they don't want to be kicked out of the club, right? They don't want to go on their Facebook. They don't want to go on their TikTok. They don't want to go to their book club or whatever the fuck and say, hey, did you hear what Trump said about Tylenol? Yeah, I took a whole bunch. Me too. How about you, Lindsay? No, I didn't take any Tylenol. It sounds dangerous. Get the fuck out. Look at her. What a fucking psycho. She's a doctor? I don't know if that's true or not. This is literally a doctor's whatever. Anyway, I was gonna maybe talk about this yesterday, but I just knew there was gonna be a bunch of crazy fucking fallout from this because liberals just had to. We knew this was gonna happen. We knew a lot of people have said if Trump came out tomorrow and said, I have the cure for cancer, Democrats would begin microwaving their heads. Seriously, remember that episode of South Park where Randy and everyone started, I think it was just Randy maybe, started microwaving his balls so he could get testicular cancer and get marijuana? That's what they would do. All of the men, well, that's assuming that men on the left have testicles. They don't know what a man or a woman is anyway, so I don't know. Fuck it. They're just insane. This is from Mario Knopfel. Trump's Tylenol warning backed by Harvard, Johns Hopkins research. Hold on. I need a sip of water. Excuse me. Pardon. Trump's Tylenol warning backed by Harvard, Johns Hopkins research. Many critics were quick to roll their eyes when Trump said Tylenol during pregnancy might raise autism risk, suggesting Trump was staying true to form with headline-grabbing statements of dubious value. Now, I will come out and admit, I didn't love the way that Trump spoke when they presented this. I don't always love the way he presents information. Okay, he's got his own twist on it, and he tries to be, snarky Trump and smartass Trump and everything like that. And sometimes it's very funny, and sometimes I'm like, you might want to. I would have preferred that he came out and said, this is like, just give a very straightforward, this is what we found, and I'm going to hand it over to the doctors to explain. I think that would have been better. But I mean, it's fine. The point was made, and the doctors were there, and it's fine. Okay. Let's see. Many critics were quick to roll their eyes when Trump said Tylenol during pregnancy might raise autism risk, suggesting Trump was staying true to form with headline-grabbing statements of dubious value. But Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Columbia, and Mount Sinai, I'll read those again. Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Columbia, and Mount Sinai, these kind of titans of, liberal research and medical studies, all say the same thing, and they've got the peer-reviewed studies to prove it. Harvard School of Public Health found that acetaminophen exposure increases risk for both autism and ADHD. Johns Hopkins discovered babies with the most acetaminophen in their cord blood were nearly 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with autism. Even Mount Sinai called the connection to neurodevelopmental disorders strong enough to warrant warnings for expectant mothers. Now, the FDA finally agrees, saying the data is too strong to ignore, and will move forward with label changes and doctor alerts. Tylenol probably did contribute to autism, however hard it may be to believe that such a thing could fly under the radar and cause a generational epidemic of autism that went unchallenged for decades. Sources: TND, Harvard, T.H. Chan, Johns Hopkins, Mount Sinai, Columbia. So, now hold on a second. I can't remember who I heard made this point. I think it might have been Salty Cracker. And a bunch of people were just reinstated on YouTube. If I can find it. Hold on a second. I don't... I guess I'll just go to Twitter. Just go to Twitter. I don't like using Twitter all the time, but... There it is right there. Oh, would you look at that? Thank you, Twitter. Thank you, Elon. It's good to see Trump and Elon shaking hands. That's a good thing. I'm very happy about that. So here we go. Google admits, now let me tie this together. Google admits censorship under Biden, promises to end bans of YouTube accounts of thousands of Americans censored for political speech. Washington, D.C. Today, thanks to the oversight of Chairman Jim Jordan, Republican Ohio, Google commits to offer all creators previously kicked off YouTube due to political speech violations on topics such as COVID-19 and elections an opportunity to return to the platform. Now, right there, COVID-19. Remember all of the people that were kicked off for COVID-19? They kicked off people like Dr. Robert Malone, who created the mRNA technology that is being used in the COVID-19 vaccines. Why did they kick them off for something like COVID-19? Because they were questioning what the FDA, what organizations like the FDA said about COVID. They said, you can't question the science. You can't question the research. You're gone. You're censored. It wasn't just them. Politicians, Google, Twitter at the time, all said, no, you're gone. So my question is, what's going to happen to all these people questioning the FDA on Tylenol? Now that the FDA is updating the Tylenol guidelines, if anyone comes online, comes on Twitter or YouTube and starts questioning that, you think they'll be kicked off? It's a good question, isn't it? It's a good question. I heard, again, that was, I believe I heard that from Salty Cracker. It's a wonderful, excellent question. It's an excellent point. You think that's going to happen? No, neither do I. It's not going to happen. Whatever, I guess. And this kind of ties in. This also ties in with all this censorship, ties in with Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel, who came back last night, and I had something brought up. Jimmy Kimmel came back last night, and this has been a whole free speech, air quotes, free speech campaign by the left. And I'll say this real quick. What the left is doing is, and this isn't telling any tales out of school, is so vile and grotesque. They are trying to convince you that the Jimmy Kimmel situation is the most severe, that this is the biggest emergency regarding the First Amendment in our lifetime. And Charlie Kirk was literally assassinated in front of his wife for free speech. They want you to believe that Jimmy Kimmel is bigger than that. And they want you to forget all about Charlie Kirk. I mean, their bullshit knows no fucking bounds. But I think this is funny on Twitter. People have got this trend going. Can a horse's ass get more views than Jimmy Kimmel's 126K per episode? This has 192K. Remember Jimmy Kimmel celebrating President Trump getting censored? Here it is right here. Hold on, let's go back.
Has been suspended from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even Snapchat. Not only did Trump get banned from Twitter, Google, Apple, and Amazon removed the Parler app from their platforms.
Yeah.
Parler is where all the right-wingers gather to post QAnon nonsense and misspell the word parlor. And no one was more upset about Parler going away than a sneaky little congressman named Devin.
Where do all the liberals gather to espouse a bunch of bullshit about Tylenol? Are they going to get banned?
But it's more than just the financial aspect of that. Republicans have no way to communicate. I have 3 million followers on Parler. Tonight, I will no longer be able to communicate with those people.
But don't worry, Mr. President, there are still plenty of apps you do have access to. You still have Spotify to drown out the sound of millions of people cheering as you leave. You still have Pet Finder since you're on the outs with Mike Pence. You can still play Among Us, a game where everyone accuses each other of being against them. You'd love it. You could play Pokemon Go. You and Donnie Jr. can hunt Pikachus together. And when no one else wants you, don't forget, there's always your old friend, the Domino's Pizza Tracker.
Turnabout's fair play, you fucking cocksucker. Where is it? Where's the video of him coming back? Where is it? Okay, so let's see. Oh, yeah, by the way, he came back last night, and Sinclair Media, I think there was 70 different stations that said we're still not going to show it. Big round of applause goes out to Sinclair for the decision to air news on its 38 affiliates tonight and keeping the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel in place. Hit that like button if you stand to Sinclair. Sure, why not? Here it is. Here's Jimmy Kimmel coming back last night. I haven't seen this yet, so maybe we can watch it together. Unfortunately. All right, let's go. My cursor.
I don't think what I have to say is going to make much of a difference. If you like me.
Correct. Nothing you say will make any kind of fucking difference whatsoever. Nobody cares about you.
Like me, if you don't, you don't. I have no illusions about changing anyone's mind. But I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is...
You have no illusions of changing anyone's mind? The implication that you got torn down off of television by your employer, by the way, and you lost your fucking mind because you think you're that important, that you have important things to say. And you mocked Charlie Kirk. Like, the fact that you can't weigh those two things and say, you know what, Charlie Kirk was more important. You thought yourself more important than a man being assassinated for free speech. So don't give me this fucking crap that you have no illusions of you having something important to say. You think you're more important than a man being assassinated for free speech. And that's why you were taken off the air, you piece of shit.
You understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Then why the fuck did you do it?
I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family.
Who gives a fuck? You went on national television and mocked him.
And asking for compassion, and I meant it, and I still do. Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual.
So then why did you say it was clearly a MAGA person who did it? When we have all the evidence that proves it was a liberal lefty goofball. Why did you do that? Is it because you're propaganda? I've been wondering, who do you think owns Jimmy Kimmel? Is it China? Is it the Jews? Is it is it George Soros directly? Is it Klaus Schwab? Who owns him, do you think? Is it a little bit of everything? Everyone gets a turn at his butthole?
That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make, but I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed.
How?
Or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I'd have felt the same way. I have many friends and family members on the other side who I love and remain close to.
I somehow doubt that. If they're still hanging out, if they are conservative and they're still hanging out with you, that's why I highly fucking doubt it. I wouldn't come within a fucking country mile of your bitch ass.
Even though we don't agree on politics at all, I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person who...
You literally said it was MAGA. You are gaslighting. God, yeah, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you will no longer be on the air. Jesus, tap dancing guys. You know the funny thing is too, not only are conservatives boycotting Disney, but now liberals are boycotting Disney. So everybody's boycotting the company that owns you. You're in a no-win situation. You're fucked, and it's great.
Believe violence was a solution, and it isn't. Ever. And also selfishly...
Will you come out and will you denounce the people who were celebrating Charlie Kirk's death? Will you do that? Will you come out and say, people, you need to stop. This is grotesque. You're all monsters. You're all evil. Will you do that?
I am a person who gets a lot of threats. I get many ugly and scary...
Jimmy, you're a very public figure, okay? You're an extremely public figure, and you have been for a long time. I am not saying that you haven't got some crazy fucking emails and some crazy fucking letters in the past. And I'm not saying that you haven't recently got them too because you mocked Charlie Kirk. And by the way, let me say this real quick. People out there, there's crazy people on every fucking side, okay? Don't send letters to people with death threats or threats of violence or anything. Don't call them with threats of violence. Don't show up at their jobs. Don't do this. Don't do that. Just disconnect. We're done with the fucking bullshit. We're calling it out. We're pointing it out. We're removing it from our society. You're no longer welcome in our society, okay? Don't do the crazy shit. But, no one's going to have sympathy for you. Nobody at all, okay? You know why? Because you're alive and you are a multi-millionaire. And Erica Kirk is a widow. And Charlie Kirk's children are fatherless. And you fucking mocked them. Shove it up your ass.
Threats against my life, my wife, my kids, my co-workers because of what I choose to say. And I know those threats don't come from the kind of people on the right who I know and love. So that's what I wanted to say on that.
But you did come out and you said MAGA did it. You did come out and said MAGA was the shooter. Okay? You didn't say like a far-right extremist that it clearly doesn't represent MAGA. You said no, it was MAGA.
Subject. But I don't want to make this about me because, and I know...
Really? Is that why you're trying to get everyone to feel sorry for you?
This is what people say when they make things about them, but I really don't. This show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this.
That's true. So those last few statements were correct. I'm sorry, my headphones are giving me all sorts of trouble. Your show is not important. You are not important. Your ability to speak freely is important. So those last few statements you made were very true. I guess we need to remind people that this isn't a free speech This isn't a free speech issue because the government isn't going after Jimmy Kimmel. He's not being prosecuted by the federal government. He got suspended by his employer for having shit ratings and making a shit comment. And that's it. And that's it. And nobody cares about Jimmy Kimmel. He's right. He's not important. So no, nobody gives a fuck. Okay, let's move on from this jackass. Hold on. I gotta check something real quick. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Apologies. Let's see. I just want to double check something real quick. Oh, crap. Is it not? Did the stream cut out? Error. Did the stream cut out? Let me double check. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm having these issues. I mean, okay, I think we're good. Sorry, I apologize. All right, let's move on. Just a random thing here. Celebrities think it's an assault on free speech for ABC to fire Jimmy Kimmel, but they said nothing when Biden was censoring Americans online for telling the truth. They're full of it. I'll say it. They're full of shit. Mark Zuckerberg says Biden officials would scream and curse when seeking removal of Facebook content. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. While we're at it, I want to mention Charlie Kirk. This is, hold on a second. I want to make sure my screen is blah, 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 blah. Turning Point USA, this is per Zero Hedge. Turning Point USA holds first college event since Charlie Kirk assassination. Okay, good. Okay, back in the saddle. Okay, don't stop. Won't stop. Keep going. And since the Kirk assassination, there have been over 60,000 inquiries to opening new Turning Point USA chapters all over the world, which is wonderful. And again, and we're all seeing this. We're all seeing this come to light. If there's any kind of silver lining out of this whatsoever, it's that more people are paying attention to the real message of Charlie Kirk, which was God, family, and country. And that's it. And all of the people who have been woken up by this, who are actually going and looking at what Charlie Kirk really had to say, they're realizing that everything was a lie. Not just the politics, not just the lies about Charlie Kirk, lies about everything, because they're hearing what Charlie Kirk says and they're like, well, wait a minute, they lied about Charlie. So I imagine they lied about everything he said. So I guess now I'm going to have to question everything. So, and you should always question everything. You should question everything about everything. You should question, I mean, you know, that's kind of the point. Like when you're reading the Bible and, you know, there's conflicting stories, there's contradictions. It's to get you asking questions. It's to get you thinking about how it applies to your life and say, well, I got to ask questions about this. That's really the point of these contradictions in the Bible, to actually get you thinking of applications and questioning your life. Right? And you should always ask questions about everything. All the time. But to this was Tuesday, September 23rd. Nonprofit conservative organization Turning Point USA has held its first campus event since the September 10th assassination of founder Charlie Kirk. The University of Minnesota Twin Cities hosted the event on September 22nd, which was scheduled before Kirk's death and held one day after his memorial service at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. This event was originally supposed to be a conversation between me and Charlie, said conservative commentator Michael Knowles, who hosted the Monday event, which featured an empty chair on the stage for Kirk, draped with a white T-shirt with the word freedom on it, the shirt Kirk was wearing when he was killed. According to TPUSA, college Enterprise Director Chris Gaffrey, the event opened with the entire crowd standing together, hand over heart, singing God Bless the USA. It was powerful, it was patriotic, it was a reminder that this movement is alive and stronger than ever. These people love Charlie Kirk, he wrote. And here's his post of this. Let's take a look. Let's take a look.
'Cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American.
They have no idea what they've done. They have no idea. Okay. As the Epoch Times notes, I'm not going to go through this whole thing here. As the Epoch Times notes further, all attendees were required to go through a security screening with metal detectors, according to the university's event website. Water bottles, signs, banners, and other displayable items were prohibited inside the auditorium. I mean, the security is going to be insane at everything now. They don't have a choice at this point. The security is going to be wild, and I mean that's what we got to do. That's what we have to do. Oh, by the way, it reminded me. I didn't touch on this. Antifa was designated. I believe Antifa was officially designated a terrorist organization. Let me double check. Antifa terrorist. Trump signs executive order designating. There we go. Last updated 35 minutes ago. Trump signs executive order designating Antifa as domestic terrorist organization. I tie this together because, you know, they're going to start cracking down harder on, and, you know, security is going to go crazy and blah, blah, blah. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on September 22nd, 2025, designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization and directing federal agencies like the Department of Justice and FBI to investigate, disrupt, and dismantle its operations, including funding sources. The order responds to incidents of political violence such as the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, which officials attribute to radical networks. Legal experts and civil liberties groups, including the ACLU, fuck the ACLU, have raised concerns about the order's constitutionality due to the absence of statutory framework for domestic designations and potential threats to First Amendment rights, while supporters argue it is essential to combat attributed violence. And just a real quick note, this story is a summary of posts on X and may evolve over time. Grok can make mistakes. Okay, so it's just a general summary. It's not an actual news story there. Excuse me. The fuck is that? I'm not going into that. So the security is going to step up. The federal government's going to crack down. And in terms of like Antifa being designated a terrorist organization, I think the way that they go about this is because, remember, Trump mentioned that they're going to go after maybe George Soros RICO with RICO statutes and maybe some other people with RICO statutes. If you can prove that the money is funneling from an outside, a foreign source, coming into the United States to fund terrorist operations within the United States, I think you've got something there, right? If people inside the United States, if American citizens are taking foreign money to commit terrorism within the United States, you've got something. Okay, and remember, the definition of terrorism is using violence or the threat of violence to get people to do what you want in terms of political, ideological, and religious means for purposes. That's the definition of terrorism. And what does Antifa do? They try to intimidate people for political and ideological means. So I think you can tie that together. I think that makes sense. Again, I'm not a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that. I'm just some douchebag sitting in the basement. So, but speaking, we're talking about Turning Point USA, speaking about Charlie Kirk, I stumbled upon this video, and I'm just going to let it play, and then maybe we'll go back and comment, but, excuse me, Charlie Kirk video that keeps getting removed off of several platforms. Oh, my. This got posted on TikTok and got removed for community violations. Oh, gee. I wonder what he says. I guess we'll find out.
Government has a mandate. I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Yep. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally crap after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets. But there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right. So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier, right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel is on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu is basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here. But I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? 6 hours?
Well, isn't that something? I don't know if I should comment or just leave that right there. You know, I wonder. I have a question. How would I type this? Oh, Carly? No, not Carly. Oh, there it is right there. According to multiple reports, this is the AF Post. According to multiple reports, Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu offered Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA $150 million in cash to adopt an even more ardently pro-Israel stance. Kirk refused the money. Now, I'm not going to say that Israel did this or that. I'm not going to say Mossad did this. I don't have any evidence of that. I don't. But I do have questions, kind of like Charlie Kirk had questions. Do I believe the official story? Fuck no. Absolutely not. There are too many questions. There's too many holes. There's too much of this, that, or the other. I'm not saying Tyler, piece of shit Robinson, and his, trans thing weren't involved, because they were. But do I think that 22-year-old took that shot and then did all? No. I don't believe that. Again, there are some wild fucking conspiracy theories out there, man. And look, I'm someone who loves a good conspiracy theory. I do. One of my favorites is that some people think Wyoming does not exist. That's true. Some people think Wyoming does not exist. And that's just okay. All right. There's something missing, right? You can kind of feel it in your gut. Something doesn't add up. Again, I don't want to get into, I think it would be somewhat disrespectful to start getting into a bunch of wild conspiracy theories and this, that, or the other. And I don't want to do that. But I certainly do not believe the official story. And I certainly don't believe Kash Patel. Mr. I'll see you in Valhalla, Kash Patel. What in the flying fuck was that? Charlie Kirk did not believe in Valhalla. Okay, I don't know if that was some kind of inside fucking joke between you two or whatever the fuck, but Jesus Christ, dude. Okay, so there's that Charlie Kirk video. Would it surprise me if Mossad was involved? No. No, not one bit. Not one fucking bit. Would it surprise me if Bibi Netanyahu was somehow involved? No. Not one fucking bit. Again, I don't have evidence of that. I'm just saying I don't believe the official narrative, and nothing would surprise me at this point. So, yeah. Whoops. Time is it? 6:14 a.m. Central Standard Time. We've got about 10, 15 more minutes before I got to get out of here. What else was I talking about today? I wanted to mention this. I'm not going to play this whole video. So I'm going to get maybe something like this. Just an image in here. So this is a video. I just wanted to give a shout out to this video. It's called The Duality of Man at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. And this is a video by John Ward. And it's an excellent, excellent video. And it talks about the Charlie Kirk Memorial and what we saw. The difference between... I'm going to have to get new headphones. This is bothering the shit out of me. I shouldn't complain. I have it very, very fucking good. I am very blessed. I'll keep the headphones. The duality that we saw at Charlie Kirk's memorial between Erica Kirk and Donald Trump. With Erica Kirk, you have a perfect representation of the feminine. You know, not only that she's beautiful and she holds herself very feminine in a very feminine way. It's not just that. She is forgiving. She is kind. She's soft. She's a gentle touch. She offers grace where grace is needed. She forgave the person who killed her husband. I want to make it very clear. That forgiveness was not for the assassin. It was for her. The forgiveness was for her so that she did not carry that hate, that the weight of the hate around on her heart for the rest of her life. She didn't want to live with that like that. That does not mean she doesn't want punishment. And that's where Donald Trump comes in. So over here you have Erica Kirk, who's offering grace and forgiveness and kindness. And then you have Donald Trump who says, "That's very nice of you, Erica. Now it's time for punishment." Bringing in the masculine, the balance, the grace, the softness, and the stern, the stoic punishment. That wasn't the right word. You know what I mean. That just wasn't said very well. Where Trump comes in and says, "We're done with your bullshit. We're cracking down on you. This man's going to be punished, and I hope he gets the death penalty." And even Erica Kirk was quoted as saying, I believe she was asked if she wanted the death penalty, and she said, "I will leave that up to the government." She's like, "I have done what I am supposed to do. I have offered grace and kindness and forgiveness. That is what I'm supposed to do." In the feminine. Remember, she even spoke about the roles of the feminine and the masculine in her speech at the memorial. She understands it. And she said, when asked, "What do you think about the death penalty?" "I'll leave that up to the government. I will leave that up to the men. That is their role. That is their duty. My duty is to offer grace where it is needed. Their duty is to crack down and give punishment where it is needed. To be strict, to be firm, to not allow the bullshit." And that is because this video goes into it very well. Trump said in his speech after Erica Kirk, he said, "I know Erica's very kind, and that's very wonderful. And she would say not to hate your enemies." And Trump said, "I hate my enemies. Because I need to have that to crack down on them. I need to be firm on my enemies." And again, quite the duality of man, which is the title of this video. Duality of Man at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. Donald Trump, people like Donald Trump will carry the hate so that people like Erica Kirk don't have to, right? Men will do the hard, nasty things that need to be done to produce a society where people like Erica Kirk can thrive and offer grace. You come to our doors, you come to our borders, you come to our walls, we will strike you down with extreme prejudice. And we won't hesitate. We should have no qualms about it. At least we shouldn't. Because we are trying to protect a society where people like Erica Kirk and her children can thrive. That's the point. That is the feminine and the masculine working together. And again, Erica Kirk understood that, and she said it in her speech. And you saw, she went out on stage and she embraced Donald Trump, and and she knew it, and she took comfort in him. She knows. She's like, I know you're a man, and I know you're going to have to do what you got to do. So go do what you got to do. Right? You will dish out the punishment. You will do what is necessary so something like this never happens again, so that we can continue to have free speech, so that I can continue to raise my children without the threat of all of this madness. That is what is necessary, now more than ever. And it reminds me, the circular thing. Strong men create good times create weak men create bad times create strong men, so on and so forth. It's a very good video. Check it out. Duality of Man at the Charlie Kirk Memorial by John Ward. It's a very good video. What else was I going to talk about? I don't know. That might have been it. Google censorship. Oh, yeah. By the way, YouTube, we already went over this. I don't know. Maybe that was all I was going to go over today. Let's take a look. Maybe we'll just go look at some random shit and then react and make fun of it. Just for the last few minutes. How's that sound? Sounds kind of good. Sounds kind of fun. Finish this off with some... finish this off with just some random shit. Hold on. Let me check my notes. Sorry. Oh. Yeah. Hold on a second. I found something. I found one of my notes. Jimmy Kimmel expresses outrage after trial. Okay, let's react to this. God damn it. It's Jimmy Kimmel. You fucking cocksucker.
His press conference yesterday was an all-timer. Trump, Bobby Brainworm, and Dr. Roz strongly recommend that pregnant women stop taking Tylenol immediately, and the president was very persuasive making his case.
Okay, again, so, like I said earlier in the stream, the FDA is now going to recommend this. Is Jimmy Kimmel going to be barred from social media or media in general? The fuck? Because he is now questioning the stance of the FDA and these doctors. Is that going to happen? I guess it doesn't matter for Jimmy Kimmel because he'd be kicked off the fucking air anyway.
This is Tylenol we're talking about. The thing that you take when they won't let you take anything that works. It's never, they gave me Tylenol. It's always, only gave me was Tylenol. But make no mistake, this was an historic announcement. This was a major breakthrough in the field of medicine. And just in case it isn't clear, if someone comes up and offers you a Tylenol, you should not take it.
Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. With Tylenol, don't take it.
His press conference yesterday was an all-time.
So what are you going to do, Jimmy? If a pregnant woman asks you, should I take Tylenol, are you going to say yes? Are you? Will you? Will you? Why is it so shocking? Why is it so surprising to people that maybe Tylenol damages people? Why is that so shocking? I don't understand. It's like when, my God, it's like when the vaccine schedule, you're recommended, the CDC vaccine schedule is that they recommend anywhere from 50 to 70 doses of drugs, of these shots of medication before a child is 24 months. I'll say that again, 50 to 70 doses of vaccine before a child is 24 months old. Now, I want you to think about that. What does that imply? That implies that our world around us is so incredibly toxic that before we go out into the world and grow up in the world, we have to take 50 to 70 doses of drugs? So you're telling me that the world is insanely toxic? And that if I didn't have these 50 to 70 doses of drugs, I would, die? Does that make any fucking sense? How is it that people in Japan. Japan has over 100,000 people who are over 100 years old, 100 years old or more, or older. And those people didn't take 50 to 70 fucking doses back when they were born, before 24 months old. It doesn't compute. Why is it so surprising that if you give a child 50 to 70 doses before they're 24 months old, it might fuck them up? Why is that hard to comprehend? I don't understand. But then again, the same people who would do it are the same people who are taking Tylenol while they're pregnant just to stick it to Donald Trump. So I guess it's not shocking. Jimmy Kimmel are the kind of people who don't question it. So that's not a fucking surprise. Jesus Christ. What was I looking up? Hold on. I had something else. What was it? TikTok. Care worker. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Here it is. So, a TikTok user, Cure Eosly Healing, works in America Healthcare. She says conservatives better not have a medical emergency. Most of us in healthcare are liberals. What the fuck does that mean? So, this woman is actually calling out the TikToker, and let's expand here. If you can see, there's the little TikTok blurb. You better never have a medical emergency. Most of us in healthcare are liberal. Well, what the fuck does that mean, you psycho bitch?
What did you just say?
Right.
You better never have a medical emergency. Most of us in healthcare are liberal. Are you suggesting that you wouldn't provide medical care to somebody that doesn't share the same political views as you?
Or are you implying something worse? If I come into the ER, if I have to get to a room and I just need a standard IV bag, just to get some hydration, get some sodium water in my body, are you going to give me something else? Oops. I made a mistake. Oh, this person doesn't have the COVID vaccine. I think they need it.
And I have news for you, Carry On. There's a lot of Republicans in healthcare. We just don't ever sit and tell everybody what we are because we know we're working with people like you.
That's true, and it doesn't matter. Well, at least it shouldn't matter. People like this, the person who said this, you better never have a medical emergency. Most of us in healthcare are liberal. Not only does this person need to be fired, but they need to have every single license that they have, everything taken away from them, and they can never be allowed to work in healthcare ever again for the rest of fucking time. You need to send a big fucking message. That's what we're doing. Okay? No violence. We're just calling you out and we're removing you from our society. Get fucked.
And y'all are so loud and so ignorant. So loud and so ignorant.
Yes.
And we just quietly sit and listen to you. Yeah, we listen to you.
We're not going to do that anymore. We're done listening to you. We tried listening to you, but you wouldn't listen to us. We tried having a conversation, but you didn't want to have a conversation. So now we're not going to sit down and say, hey, ma'am, you can't say this on social media. This is wrong. We can't do this, okay? And then just have you scream in our face and then go, okay. It's like, you're fucking fired. Get the fuck out.
I wonder if your employer would appreciate you going out and telling the general public that they better never have a medical emergency because you wouldn't provide care.
Yeah.
See how that works?
Mm-hmm.
I would go out on a limb to guess that your employer would not like you representing their company, their business in that way.
And she makes a very good point right there. She makes a very good point. You can say what you want. You can go on social media. You can say whatever the fuck you want. You've got the First Amendment right to do that. You can say whatever you want, except for calls to violence. You can't have calls to violence. It's not protected by the First Amendment. But anything else, you can go on and you can say this. You can say this online. That doesn't make it you free from consequence. And yes, private employers, they have the right to hold you accountable for shit like this. They most certainly do. They usually have a code of conduct, is what it's called. I'm sure this woman has no idea what a code of conduct is. I mean, It's standard shit, people. It just really is. But they don't think about that because they think like children. They think that they can run around doing whatever they want and they won't get in trouble because they haven't gotten in trouble for the past 10 years. They haven't found out at all, but now they are.
I mean, that's just a wild guess, a wild assumption.
Yep. So how about that? Okay. It's 6:29. I got to go. I will be back tomorrow with more. I'm going to try to start a little earlier so we can get in a little more. So far, the show's just being an hour. But if you happen to see this, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Consider maybe just giving a like, maybe a subscribe, whatever floats your boat. I will be back tomorrow morning. So, yeah, if you do like and subscribe and you want to hear more, hit that little notification bell, and we'll go from there. Anyway, God bless you all. God bless the United States of America. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye. States of America. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye. States of America. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have a wonderful day.